The special counsel urges the Supreme Court to reject former President Trump's claim of immunity in the election interference case. And Tesla settles a lawsuit over a 2018 crash involving its Autopilot system. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Tuesday, April 9th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. There were some developments on Monday in 3 of the 4 criminal cases involving former President Donald Trump. Jack Smith, the special counsel pursuing federal charges against Trump for his effort to overturn the 2020 election, called on the Supreme Court to reject the former president's claims that he is immune from prosecution. In his filing, Smith argued that no person is above the law. Trump's legal team had filed a brief with the court last month, saying the presidency cannot retain its vital independence if the president faces criminal prosecution after leaving office. The Supreme Court is set to hear oral arguments on this case on April 25th. The justices are expected to rule by early July. Meanwhile, an appeals court judge denied Trump's request to move his hush money trial out of Manhattan, a trial that is set to begin next week in New York. Trump's lawyer had argued a Manhattan jury was not fit to hear the case because the amount of publicity the case has received. And Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis asked the Georgia Court of Appeals to uphold a judge's earlier ruling that allowed her to remain on the state's election interference case. Trump and others charged in the case have asked the court to overturn the ruling based on what they say is a conflict of interest. In her filing, Willis says there was no conflict of interest in her relationship with her top prosecutor, Nathan Wade, who resigned within hours of the judge's ruling. In all these cases, former President Trump has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The Department of Justice has declined House Republicans' request for audio recordings from special counsel interviews with President Joe Biden, detailing his handling of classified documents. Federal officials argue they've provided sufficient information after the GOP threatened to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for not releasing the recordings. The disagreement stems from Robert Hur's year-long investigation into Biden's handling of classified documents, the report citing insufficient evidence and calling Biden's memory into question, but ultimately ended with no charges. House Republicans wanted the recordings released this week. The conflict potentially setting up a legal battle between the GOP and White House over the audio's release. Hamas officials say they have rejected the latest Israeli proposal for a ceasefire in the 6-month war in Gaza. Egyptian sources, part of the negotiation talks, told Reuters both sides have agreed to concessions that could lead to an agreement. However, a Hamas official says there has been no progress on a deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is constantly working to achieve the release of all hostages and victory over Hamas. Netanyahu added victory will require military forces in the city of Rafah, confirming a date has been set to begin the operation, but he did not say when that would be. A move that defies Biden's request for Israel to call off any planned operations in the territory. The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletes issued a policy Monday, all but banning transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. The NAIA Council of Presidents approved the policy 20-1, which says athletes are only allowed to compete in women's sports if they were assigned the female gender at birth and have not begun hormone therapy. According to the policy, students who have begun hormone therapy may participate in workouts and practices, but not in competition. Cheerleading and dance are exempt from the new policy, and all athletes may participate in male sports. The NAIA oversees around 83,000 athletes at its 241 mostly small colleges around the country. It is believed to be the first college sports governing body to take these steps. The policy takes effect in August. Tesla has reached a settlement with the family of an Apple engineer who died using the company's Autopilot driving software in a 2018 crash near San Francisco. The settlement was reached just before the trial was set to start this week. The terms remain undisclosed. The lawsuit accused Tesla and CEO Elon Musk of misleading consumers about the technology's capabilities, contributing to the belief that drivers did not need to watch the road when using Autopilot. The crash occurred as 38-year-old Walter Wong used Autopilot on his commute to work. Reuters says evidence suggests that Wong was playing a video game on his phone when he crashed on a busy highway. This case is among several in the U.S. scrutinizing Tesla's technology, including a Justice Department inquiry into how Tesla markets its self-driving capabilities. Finally this morning, the madness is over, and for the second straight year, the University of Connecticut Huskies can call themselves champions. UConn defeating the Purdue Boilermakers 75-60 on Monday night in Glendale, Arizona, to win back-to-back men's NCAA national championships. UConn's Tristan Newton scoring 20 points to lead the team to its sixth national championship and being named the tournament's most outstanding player. The Huskies are the first team to win the title 2 years in a row since Florida did it in 2006 and 2007. According to the NCAA, about 26% of brackets in its challenge game this year picked the Huskies to once again have their one shining moment. These are your top stories for this Tuesday. Unbiased, straight facts, that's Straight Arrow News. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.